Donald Trump, where to begin? I've genuinely lost count of how many indictments and charges this poor man faces, but I'll stand by one thing. I'm utterly convinced to be the next president of the United States. Honestly, in his latest indictment in the US state of Georgia, Donald Trump and 18 allies face charges of trying to overturn the 2020 presidential election. He could actually stand trial in Georgia on the 4th of March 2024, a day before Super Tuesday, where 14 US states picked the Republican candidate for president. Earlier today, Trump defended himself in typical Trump fashion. He said on Truth Social that, remember, all these indictments were conceived and generated by crooked Joe Biden and his staff of radical left loonies. Joining me to talk all things Donald is former chair of the Nevada Republican Party and a friend of the show, Amy Tarkanian. Amy, good evening. I'm going to start...
Good evening.
I'm going to start in a slightly different way. We've talked on many, many occasions. Most people would say to you, should he be concerned? Last week he said, one more indictment and I'll get the nomination. He doesn't care, love, does he?
No, he doesn't. In fact, I think this would be the greatest reality show of all time if he actually does win the presidency, as you're guessing. I hope that he does not, because I'm exhausted, and I think many others are as well. But, you know, he seems to just double down, triple down, quadruple down, and he fundraises constantly after every indictment. He continues to play the victim and bring all of his MAGA devotees into the same fold. And, you know, he actually says, you know, I am going to be getting arrested for you. I'm glad to do this for you. This guy is off his rocker.
Now, I'm not defending him blindly. I always try and look at both sides. You were an ex-fan. Now you say he's off his rocker. A lot of people in the United Kingdom would love an American to explain this. We all know that Hunter Biden's laptop and all those stories. We've all heard many stories about Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. Trump's clarion call is to say, that gets hidden. That gets hidden by the liberal press, right? It's only me. If you open it up, is Joe Biden and his administration any better? Certainly America economically isn't in as good a place as it was when Trump was in power, Amy, is it?
No, we're in a lose-lose situation. The difference here is Trump can't keep his mouth shut. So he still goes to Truth Social. He still sends out his mass emails, you know, complaining and talking about the different indictments and all the problems that surround him, where Joe Biden keeps silent. Now, we know that there's a special counsel that's set to investigate Hunter Biden. Of course, the liberal media is loving every minute that Trump continues to post on Truth Social and talk about his situation. And so, of course, it's going to exacerbate his side more so than the Biden side. And, you know, he knows that. He's the greatest at PR. And so the more that he can stir the pot and keep his base angry and frustrated, the more money will come in and the more support he garners.
I love having you on. Two very quick questions. I love having you on, and I mean that. Two very simple questions. Amy Tarkanian, will Trump be the Republican nominee?
Yes.
Will Donald Trump be the next president of the United States of America?
God help us.
Amy Tarkanian, live from Nevada. Thank you very much indeed. Panel, very quickly, let's start with you, Jake. Press, publicity is his oxygen. Whatever you think about the rights and wrongs, the point I tried to make about her is it's not the greatest look. The choice is between Donald Trump and a man who doesn't know his name. What are your thoughts briefly on Donald Trump?
He'll be delighted with this because every time he gets indicted, he goes up in the polls. It seems to me that he is going to win the next presidential election if he can get through some of these charges, and there are some of them which means that he couldn't stand. But, you know, it's extraordinary. America has a written constitution. It doesn't cover this sort of situation. It is just possible that he could be president of the United States from prison. I mean, it's just absolutely extraordinary. Look, in terms of his record, he was a good president on the economy. I disagree with his style and lots of things he said. It seems to me like it's his to lose.
It's interesting. I know. I can feel it. I've known Rebecca a long time. I know But is Joe Biden any better? Is Hunter Biden any better?
Well, of course he is. Like,
How?
I mean,
Hunter Biden? What sort of person is he?
But Hunter Biden's his son. We haven't got enough time. Collusion with Russia. What on earth happened with North Korea? The degradation of the office of the President of the United States, the rhetoric around Mexicans, the January 6th coup. I mean, we haven't got enough time
But
to go through all the reasons.
answer the fact that economically America was in a far stronger place.
Because he had that awful protectionist approach to economics, which doesn't fit a global world, and we've got and regardless, how can we even be conceiving of this? Like, it's not funny having someone sitting in prison running for president.
But that could happen. That's not our fault. That's the Americans.
But that's not something that should be encouraged or laughed about. Or
I think he'll win.
It's quite dangerous.
I think he'll win.
No, I think we're overestimating the fact that he beat probably the only person that could be beaten by Donald Trump in US politics, which is Hillary Clinton, who is the only woman who couldn't have beaten anyone.
But I bet you defended her as a Democrat.
No,
and look how warped and illegal her family are.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, we should throw some allegedlys around. No, I mean, she's hideously unpopular for whatever reason, misogyny, bill, whatever you want to call it. He was always going to beat her. So I don't think we should overestimate the.
Will he win the Republican nominee?
Yeah, but not the election.
Annabelle Denham, two polar opposite views, very interesting. It is, more than anything, going to be the most fascinating 18 months, where allegedly will have to be said far more. I agree with Rebecca. What do you make of all of this?
Well, it's a very sorry state of affairs in a population of well over 300 million people. How is it possible that we are looking at a contest between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, neither of whom, for their own reasons, are fit for office? I think it's entirely possible that Trump is going to get the Republican nomination. We don't know the full strength of his core voter base. And of course, those who are not unwavering Trump supporters find him pretty repulsive. He is a demagogue, but it's still possible that he could get the nomination and that he will go up against Sleepy Joe in 2024. And what's really extraordinary is how many people would have written off Donald Trump in 2020, even with the Capitol riots in 2021. The general pattern is that in political careers, you come out of nowhere, you rise and you rise and you rise, you peak, and then you fall and you disappear and you tend to go away quietly. Now, that's not an iron rule. I mean, look at somebody like Tony Blair. But Trump, the idea that he's going to be president again in 2024, it's just extraordinary.
He's going to surf back to the White House on a tide of liberal tears.
This is why I sit here every night hopeful that the same will happen with Boris Johnson. Answer that, Rebecca Hudson.
No, in no way. I think I'd rather go and live under Trump. At least he wouldn't be around for.
You'd rather go and live under Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Right, enough about the Orange Man in the United States.